Welcome back, beautiful and amazing people. Dr. Genzo here with another deck profile for you. Actually, you notice that we're not in the shop here. We're actually at my place because we're doing a personal deck profile for me. I know I don't usually do those quite often, but kind of been running low, and I wanted to show you some of the new stuff. So today we're going to be doing Labrynth. I've actually top 2 to tournament, not with this exact build, but the deck has been going through some changes recently. It's very flexible, very malleable, as you'll see in the profile. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, now let's get started with the deck profile. Hopefully this isn't crooked or backwards for you. Kind of doing it by myself here, so let's go. I'm usually on the other side of the camera. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with the traditional Labrynth cards. So we're going to have 3 Ariana, actually. She basically searches on normal summon, and then we're going to have one of the pink one, Ariana. So basically what she does, she sends a normal trap from your hand or face up or face down from your field to the grave to special summon any level 4 lower fiend from your deck, so you can summon her, get to your rank 4 plays and everything. She adds any Labrynth card on normal summon, which is great, and then they both have the same effect, which is if a monster is sent from the field to the grave if it leaves the field by a normal trap effect, you can draw a card. Now, either set a spell trap from your hand or special summon a fiend from your hand, which is just fantastic. Gets you the actual draw power if they stay on the board, if you don't Xyz them off. So yeah, they're pretty good. She's only a 1-of because her effect is very hit or miss, because you have to pitch a card for cost, and also she can be ashed and everything like that. She is an 1800 beat stick, which is nice. She's also 1600, which is nice as well, but she's your main go-to because she's your searcher. And also she has 2100 defense, so she's not easy for them to get around as well. So yeah, those are the maids. Those are the ratios for the maids that we're going to be running. Next up, we're going to go to the furniture, because the Labrynth are all kind of based on Beauty and the Beast type stuff. So we're running 2 Stove and Stove Torby, and then we're running 3 Chandragolier. These both have the same effect of pitching themselves from the field or the hand, and another card from your hand to set any Labrynth spell trap, and that's a quick effect, so you can activate it on your opponent's turn, even if they're going first. So you can already have a trap set, so you can activate it on your turn, even if you're going second, which is pretty cool, actually. And then each of them has a separate effect in the grave. You'll notice a lot in this deck, it requires monsters to leave the field by normal trap effects. So if a monster leaves the field by normal trap effect with him while he's in your grave, you get to add him back to hand. And then this guy special summons himself when that happens. We're not running the Cuckoo Clock because the Cuckoo Clock's kind of bad in my opinion. It lets you activate a set spell trap, but you have to control a Labrynth monster, and you have to pitch him from hand in order to do that. And he does special himself or add himself back to hand, which is nice, but to me it's just not worth it. I'll try to make room for a 3rd Stove if I could, but right now 2's running good for me. I tried them at 1, didn't see those cards as much as I wanted. And then we're running 1-ofs. Y'all are going to hate me for this, but I am running Labrynth Archfiend, and let me explain why. So this girl, self-explanatory, she's great. She's the boss monster of the deck until Darkwind Blast. She sets any trap from the graveyard. Your opponent can't activate monster effects in response to your trap effects, so they can't ash your welcome Labrynth, etc., etc. And if a monster leaves the field by normal trap effect, she can target a card on the field and pop it. Or actually, I don't even think she targets. No trap effect. You can oh yeah, she doesn't even target. And she also can destroy a card in the hand if your opponent doesn't have anything for her to blow up, which is nice. Now, he's great because of the fact that he gains 400 attack for each normal trap in your grave with a different name, which is great because he's an out-to rival if you're playing against, if it gets to that point and you're playing against AIs. And also because on summon, he sets any trap from your deck that can be activated when an attack is declared. So you can set like Mirror Force, so you can set the Fair Welcome Labrynth, which is what I run, because I think Fair Welcome Labrynth is a decent card. And also, he's not a dead draw in your hand, because whenever a trap is activated, even on your opponent's field, you can special him from your hand for free, and then you get the summon effect, which is just fantastic. So, and also, if you control, I believe if you control, oh no, never mind. Your opponent can't target other monsters for attacks except for him, so he's basically like a Dude Frog as well, so he's just fantastic in my opinion. And then now on to the non-Labrynth monsters. We have 3 Lord of the Heavenly Prison. It's pretty self-explanatory, protects your back row, and also sets back row from the deck. He's a 3K beat stick as well. Finally got my 3. Been testing it out because of the new Megatins. Thanks, Megatins. And yeah, just fantastic. Great card. Get them while you can because they're cheap. Next best card in the deck. Triple Absolute King Backjack. I know I don't have gold rares. Please don't flame me. So, Absolute King Backjack's fantastic. You can link him off to get his effect. You can send him with some trap effects to get his effect. On your opponent's turn, you banish him. You can set a trap from the top of your deck after stacking it with his grave effect. So, his grave effect is you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck, stack them how you want. On your opponent's turn, you can banish him from the grave. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a trap card, set it, and you can activate it that turn. If it's not, you just mill it. So, he's very good in a trap deck because you're mostly running traps. So he's just a fantastic card. You can link him off. You can send him with some of the trap effects. You can send him with Chandragleer or Sotorbi, which is probably the best use of him because you discard them and then him, and then you get that extra utility as well, so you're not destroying your hand in the process. So yeah, he's a fantastic card. I love him. Next up, we have the spells. We're running 2 Labrynth. Some people run 3, some people run 1. Very iffy card in my opinion, but at the same time, it's very good. It gives you that very, very good utility for your traps. It basically turns all welcome Labrynth traps into pops as well. And the funny thing about that is that it doesn't activate in separate chain. It activates as part of the trap effect. It basically puts the text and destroy 1 card on the field, non-targeting, onto the trap. It basically puts that text onto the trap. However, in a separate chain, if you activate a non-Labrynth trap, this effect actually does activate separate chain. You can special summon any fiend from your hand or grave, which is no level restriction. So that's just fantastic because if they kill your level 8s somehow, you can just special summon them right back. So the card is fantastic. It's basically going to be your search target with the level 4 because the Welcome Labrynth trap is probably what you're going to be setting off your Chandragleer and everything. So again, just a fantastic card. Wish it was more searchable, but the deck can kind of search it already because you can also set it off the Chandragleer and everything else if you're really desperate. But other than that, it's just fantastic. All right, next up we have 3 Pot of Extravagance because you're not really going in the extra deck in this deck. Next up we have 1-ofs, Called by the Grave, Foolish Burial, self-explanatory, Foolish Burial for Backjack, Called by the Grave because hand traps are bad. Next up we have the traps. This is going to be the bulk of the deck. We have 3, Welcome Labrynth. This summons any Labrynth from the deck, and if a monster leaves field by normal trap effect while this is in your graveyard, you reset it. And it doesn't banish when it leaves the field, so it just keeps recycling itself over and over. Fantastic card. Love this card. It's a great card. If they ash it, I'm a bit sad, but that's what we run Called by the Grave for, or also the Big Girl for. And you can run 2 of the Big Girl. The deck is very, very malleable. As you'll see, you'll probably won't agree with some of my trap options. You probably will agree with some of the other ones. But overall, this is a 3-of card, and you need to run 3 of it. Next up, we have 1 Fair Welcome. This is probably going to be where some people disagree. Fair Welcome is a very interesting card. If you control a Fiend monster, if any attack is declared on your board or your opponent's board, you can activate this, negate the attack, target a card on the board, pop it, and then if you do, you can set any non-Labrynth trap from your deck. So any trap at all. IDP, Fiend Griefing, Terror of the Overroots, Deck Dev Virus, etc., etc., etc. Just anything you want. Cannot be activated that turn, but at the same time, you're getting any trap for free, basically. So, and that's your target for Labrynth Archfiend as well. Next up, we have 2 Archfiend Ghastly Glitch. This just says you control a Fiend monster, target a card on the board, pop it, any card. It does target, which is unfortunate, but also sends a Fiend from your deck to the grave, aka Backjack, because that's all you're going to be sending. So yeah, very good card as well. Next up, 3 Infinite Impermanence. Pretty self-explanatory. Monster Negate, very good. Hits Gigantic Sprite, hits all that good stuff. Next up, we're running 2 Terror of the Overroot. Terror of the Overroot, fantastic card. And then this also procs Welcome Labrynth, it procs all the other Labrynth card because this does make a monster leave the board by trap effect if you target a monster with it. So again, just fantastic card for the deck. And also hits a lot of the stuff in the meta right now. Hits Tearlaments, hits Sprite when they target for Sprite Elf, etc., etc. Next up, we have IDP, 2 IDPs. Again, same thing with Terrors of the Overroot, except for it banishes, and just, again... Alright, folks, sorry about that camera angle switch there, just stuff I've with the battery, but anyways, continuing with the profile. We have 2 Fiend Griefings. Now, this card is actually really good, this format. It's very, very good in that it basically gets rid of the targets for Sprite Elf, gets rid of the tier limits because they have to fuse with themselves in the meta. So, yeah, so if they can't fuse with themselves and you put them back in the deck, then their effect fizzles. So it hits tier limits, it hits Sprite because it targets whatever elf targets, so it puts that back in the deck. And then it also sends a fiend from your deck to grave, aka Backjack. Backjack's just, again, the fiend that you want to dump over and over and over again in this deck. It's just going to be very, very good and very, very nice. So yeah, that's it for that. And then we have 2 Dogmatic of Punishment. Dogmatic of Punishment does free pop 2. Triggers most of the Labrynth effects. Again, monster lead them filled by normal trap effect. You're also going to be hitting a bunch of other cards with this as well, because you're going to be sending Intis or anything else. And again, just very good card for the deck, because again, you're not going into the extra deck in this deck a lot, so yeah. I mean, there are times when you do. And then, this is going to be a controversial thing, but I'm running 2 Trap Trick instead of 3. Trap Trick, very good card for the deck, but you really don't have that big of an issue hitting traps in this deck. So, running 3 Trap Tricks is a bit of overkill in my opinion, and also because of the fact that you only get 1 trap activation after you use this. So, if you're trying to get a trap that disrupts your opponent, but you won't be able to disrupt your opponent again for the rest of that turn. You're going to want, like in this deck, you're going to be wanting to activate traps all the time. Every single time you're flipping a card, it's going to be a trap card. You're going to be wanting to activate that, because then that procs your grave effects for your Labrynth, setting the welcome Labrynth, etc., keeping going. So yeah, only 2 Trap Trick for that reason. Trap Trick, still great card, but 3 is a bit overkill in my opinion, because if you open hand 2, it's not the best thing in the world. Alright, on to the extra deck. Extra decks, again, it's very malleable. You're going to see some things that you agree with, you're going to see some things that you don't agree with. Let me know what you think in the comments. But at the same time, it's very malleable because you're not going into it a lot. You're not really going into it that much. But one thing that's going to be pretty consistent is the one Intis, because you're running Dogmatic Punishment. If you're running Punishment, you're running Intis. Some people run them at 2. I don't really see that as a big issue. You can run them at 2 if you want, but I don't really see 2 Intis coming up all that often in my stuff. I'm either using Intis and getting free pop 2, and by that time pretty much the game's over, or I'm trying to dump something bigger because they have something bigger than Intis that I need to get rid of. So yeah, Intis, saw 1 of there. This is actually going to be replaced with number 106. I would put a Bagoo skin. Basically, this is just a placeholder. This can be anything you want. Again, the deck is super malleable. I can basically run a 14-card extra deck and be happy with this. I'm just putting in a 106 for craps and giggles. You're probably going to suck with the video because of that pick, but it's whatever. Next up, we have Raiders Night. Obviously, running this with Arc Rebellion. That's your out to arrival. Exciton, very important card in the deck. You're going to be running 1 or 2 of this. I'd probably replace John Hand with this as well. Just trying to get that in the center of the shot there. Very, very good card. It was a good card when it was printed. $100 when it was printed. Just very good card, very decent card. Hits a lot of boards, kills a lot of boards. It's basically Zeus as a rank 4, which is just fantastic, generic as well. And it's a fiend, so Welcome Labrynth doesn't lock you out of it, which is great. Abyss Dweller, because graveyards are the name of the game this meta. Arc Rebellion, because you're running Raiders Night. 2 rank 8s, because you are running 2 level 8s, so it might come up. Dingirsu for the protection and also the free send. And then him for the spell trap negate in case something happens. But again, not really much is going to go on in this extra deck. Also, 106 is probably going to replace the Zeus. That's what I would say. You're running this many Xyz, run Zeus. Next up, we're going to go into links. Zeus is in my other decks, by the way, which is why it's not here. I'm super prepared, if you can't tell. 1 Link Karibo, because you're running a level 1 Backjack, you want to get in the grave. And then 1 Relinquish Anima, because zones matter, and if they're not prepared, well, then sucks to be them. Almost took you guys Mirror Jade with that Anima, which is great. Now on to Link 2s, we're running 1 Nightmare Phoenix, because Welcome Labyrinth locks you into Fiends from the extra deck. And we're also running Dark, because Dark just hits a lot of stuff. Very good card. Next on 1 Rank 3, or 1 Link 3, we're going to run a Nightmare Unicorn, because shuffling back's always good. And then finally, 1 Link 4, we're running Unchained Abomination because it's a fiend. You can go into it. It's a great card. 3 pops per turn, potentially. So, great card in that respect. And Link 5, another Outer Rival, Underworld Goddess. She's very, very good. She just got reprinted as well, like $2, so you can get your own. Yeah, she's a great card. Yeah, overall, that's, let's see, we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. Yeah, it's a 15 card extra deck, so full extra deck. It's very malleable. You're just really the only staple cards you're going to need are Exciton, Intis, if you're running Punishment, and then the 2 Link 1 targets for Backjack. You could also run Almirage as well for a Backjack Link as well, but I don't think it's going to come up that much as Anima and Link Karibo. And you can't link off with the other Link 4s in Almirage. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Not really going to go into another face cam shot here because I'm filming this myself. So yeah, other than the, we're not going to go into the side deck either because the side deck is very, very, it's very malleable. You can do whatever you want with it. I run Deck Dev Viruses, Evenly Matched is another card to run, Anti-Spell as well to get rid of the Lightning Storm variable, Dimensional Barrier. Sorry if there's so many Dimension cards, kind of forgot there. Dimensional Barrier, just because, Torrent Tribute, Mirror Force, also Tech Witch's Strike in mine. Let me tell you why. Let me put this out. Witch's Strike, this is really for going second against Sprite, because if they activate the Toad Negate on anything you do, you just chain this, and then their whole board's gone. And then that procs all your Labrynth effects in the grave as well. Also, their entire hand is gone. It's all gone. It's a great card. So I hope your Totally Awesome Negate was worth it. But, yeah, at the end of the day, you're going to lose your entire board because of it. So, yeah, nothing really else much to say there. You got some critiques, let me know. If not, still let me know. This is Dr. Jinza signing off, guys. Y'all have a good one.